And unlike Trump 1, in which we had those 2 years, and there were some of these things we're about to say that were proposed
Yeah.
and never acted upon for I don't know what reason. I was furious at the GOP, still am actually, but they can win me back over if they do it this time. Number one.
We are the Armed Attorneys. Today we're talking about our Second Amendment wish list. We have a new president-elect, Donald John Trump, won the spot for the 47th president of the United States. Now, there's some low-hanging fruit, some stuff that I think we can get over the finish line, and then some uphill battles. We kind of break these out into different categories. And I think ultimately we're really interested in what you folks have to say and what we want to do and how we guide this administration. But before we begin, show your support for the Second Amendment by hitting that like button. Now, don't forget to leave out your Diet Coke at McDonald's.
That's right, because it is Second Amendment Christmas. So we have Donald Trump in the White House. We have most likely GOP controlled House and Senate, which means we have 2 years to get some stuff done this time, guys. So very, very excited. I'm scrawling my Santa's wish list, except I'm sending it to the White House, to Donald Trump.
Yep.
And these are the things that I want. Let's go. Where do you want to start?
Well, I think we start with, we are going to leave a lot of stuff out. There, our videos 10 to 15 minutes long. So we know policy issues are going to get left behind. And I'm sure we haven't thought of everything at this point. I mean, we're going to miss some things. So if there's something you all are really, really interested in, please make sure to leave a comment below, have that discussion. We talk to lawmakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we read the comment section, so we want to hear what you have to say. But I think the best way to approach this is we break these out into kind of 3 categories, things that could probably happen immediately, like super low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Things where we're going to need to loop in the Congress on this one. And then the third one, these are really uphill battles, but we would still like them. One can dream, right?
Yes.
So where do we start with low-hanging fruit?
Okay, I start with low-hanging fruit and this is before we even talk about how we are structuring our new administration. Start by just rescinding the Biden era directives on zero tolerance for FFL dealers.
That's an easy one.
That's an easy one, because you know what we don't need to do? We don't need to strip FFL dealers of their licenses and close down their gun stores for willful violations that are actually just typos.
Yeah, where
human
people put
errors.
USA instead of county.
Exactly. So, I mean, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and then all of these gun stores can just live their lives and continue helping us exercise our Second Amendment rights. Where do you start? That's easy.
I think we start with the purse. The federal government, you get to decide how to prioritize your budget. And I think by defunding, there's 2 big things.
I love that word.
Yes.
Go on.
The National Extreme Risk Protective Office Resource Center, completely useless agency. Bye-bye. Go home to mommy. The other one is and this is just, I really hate, they say like, oh, we need to study gun violence. And if you're just listening, I'm making air quotes. But really what it is taxpayer-funded lobbying, because they get all this data and start all these awareness campaigns and things like that. And really, they are just fighting the American people on their fundamental right to keep and bear arms.
Exactly. And, we didn't say this part yet. I think it goes without saying that we need a director of the ATF who doesn't suck.
Yes. And with the floor right now, the floor in the Senate, we're looking at a minimum 2. We're still in that range. At the time of this filming, we have a couple of races that haven't been called yet. So 52 senators, maybe 53, maybe 54. I think that will aid and speed the confirmation process if we have a friendly ATF director.
Send that assembly line of positions and judges through.
Yeah.
That's me confirming people.
I was talking to an ATF agent. This was a long time ago. And I was like, oh, what was the first Trump administration like? And they said, well, we spent most of our time just watching movies in the office. And while I think that's a huge waste of taxpayer funds,
oh my God,
I take that over whatever they're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm torn. I mean, that's the first time you've ever told me that. I'm torn because yes, horrifying waste of taxpayer money. However, like I think I want my ATF agents watching the new Martha documentary on Netflix, not taking my guns away from me.
Sure.
It's really good. You're never going to look for Mars. It's excellent.
All right. Next low hanging fruit, fixing the ATF form 4473.
Yes, because we have all of these cases working their way up through the court system in which all of these provisions about who cannot have guns are being challenged on constitutional grounds under our New York State Pistol and Rifle Association versus Bruin standard. And they are beginning to fall. So, I mean, step one is the government needs to stop pursuing these cases. The government needs to fold and say, you're right, that is an unconstitutional gun law. You can have guns, sir. And then we reform the 4473. We get rid of the 4473. No, that's not going to happen. That's way pie in the sky. But we reform it such that we are acting in accordance with New York State Pistol Rifle Association versus Bruin. And when someone brings a challenge that any of the federal gun laws are unconstitutional, we don't fight them tooth and nail, Biden administration, with every ounce of our beings. We say, I agree, sir.
Yeah, all right.
I agree, GOA,
There are a little
NRA.
intertwined issues here. I'm going to move that up into within our arm's reach, or within reach, but needs a ladder, because we do have to make some changes to the United States Code and some changes to the CFR.
All right, sure enough.
But they do collect a lot of unnecessary information. If we were just getting rid of unnecessary information, all right, that's fine. With the changes to the list of prohibited persons, I think we can look at these things, say, all right, it doesn't take a whole lot. You don't have to get a brain trust together to say that's unconstitutional, that's unconstitutional. We should be able to, that should be within arm's reach.
We should let people destroy 4473s again.
Yeah, that would be low-hanging fruit.
Make 4473s subject to destruction again. It doesn't fit nicely on a hat, but I like it.
It's like, wow, that's a really specific policy issue you have on your bumper stick right there. All right, so yes, going into our next category of within arm's reach or within reach, but you need a little bit of a ladder. We got kind of a limited window on this.
We do. We have 2 years. And I believe we're only going to have 2 years. And unlike Trump 1, in which we had those 2 years, and there were some of these things we're about to say that were proposed and never acted upon for I don't know what reason. I was furious at the GOP, still am actually, but they can win me back over if they do it this time. Number one, national reciprocity. It's so easy, y'all. It's so easy. File the bill, get it through, sign it. Why isn't my Texas license recognized in New York?
Yeah, that's pretty silly.
Why can't I go to, I don't really want to go to California, Washington. I want to go to Seattle. Why can't I go to Seattle and have my Texas license recognized? I want that.
Yeah. Next on the list, I have down fixing this. Hey, we can transfer long guns to 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, but we can't transfer handguns.
Right.
That's just a weird unconstitutional law. We need to get rid of that.
And we have a decision out of a court in Texas that says that is unconstitutional.
Right.
But no one is abiding by it. Like all the FFL dealers are, and I don't know where it is in the appellate process, to be perfectly honest, because we're following 4,718 cases right now. But I mean, I know that all the FFL dealers I'm talking to are like, I'm not making that trade. Even when it was initially, I know, acceptable under the district court decision, they were like, I'm not doing that. So come on, guys. Come on, y'all. But also, I mean, going back to bills that were actually proposed during Trump 1, when we had all of the chambers, suppressors, the Hearing Protection
Act.
So, I mean, again, that's not hard.
That's not controversial. It's the polite thing to do.
It is the polite thing to do. It would be, and I know this is trite and everyone says it, but it is absolutely true. If the firearm were invented today, suppressors would be mandatory in order to protect your hearing. OSHA would require them.
Yeah.
And so it really is.
Especially if you work at a library.
Yep.
All right, this is some other kind of, I think it's within arm's reach. I think this would improve the lives of a lot of people because we all look at those big issues like legalized machine guns, and we'll get to those in a minute. But I will say more people are affected by this than probably most folks know. Erroneous NICS checks denials.
Yes, and it is so hard to fix it.
Yeah.
Once the NICS has you down for like something that you didn't do, but it's on your background check.
Or they associate your name with an erroneous record.
Oh my gosh, it is misery to fix it. misery. And this all happened, I will say, this all happened through legislation, because this really started happening when we poured a bunch of money into the NICS, when we did the Fix the NICS.
Sure.
And so I don't like, I
Do we
don't,
just defund the NICS? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know what the answer is. I mean, honestly, it's like, well, I don't want to give you more money to fix the problem that got caused when we gave you more money, because it was like,
It's a
well,
job for Elon.
that is a job for Elon. Call him in. But yes, absolutely. You're 100% right. I don't know personally what the fix is for that.
All right. Next one we had. All right, we're getting to these are maybe a bridge too far, but obviously this is the stuff the people want.
Yes. You get to carry guns into federal facilities now.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be great.
Well, and we could go through all these complete repeal of the National Firearms Act, especially the Hughes Amendment. We talk about
give me my machine guns.
Yeah, this is the abolish the Code of Federal Regulations. Like we watched that video, our bureaucracy.
Yes.
All right, let's roll just a little bit of that.
If the Democrats fail, it might be the end of American bureaucracy.
Our bureaucracy really is in fundamental peril.
The foundations of American bureaucracy under attack.
They want to destroy our bureaucracy.
We are a bureaucracy in danger.
We're watching an election where people are on the ballot openly advocating the end of bureaucracy.
Yeah, I don't think we get to shred the CFR.
Maybe. Well, and I think you have to do these things in an order. I mean, if you just abolish, let's say, the ATF without having changed the Code of Federal Regulation or without repealing the NFA, those laws don't go away. They just get sent to different agencies. So instead of having one centralized agency, you're fighting, who knows, God knows, maybe a dozen agencies with these issues. But ultimately, I mean, that's the stuff that I can dream about.
Dream away.
But we are back, and what I think about when we have this discussion, I don't know if anybody checked out the Project 2025. Trump disavows the Project 2025. He says some things are good, some things are bad. But if you notice, there is a notable missing portion in that gigantic document. There's nothing about firearms.
There is nothing about firearms. And I don't know if the conservatives feel like we won, we're good on firearms, we've got Bruin. That is not the case. It is an always ever-present battle. And now's the time to fight it. Now's the time to wage that war.
Yeah. All right, last item for the uphill battle, national constitutional or permitless carry.
National constitutional carry. I mean, I don't see why not.
That's even better than reciprocity.
That's even better than national reciprocity. Ooh.
Yeah. There might be something there.
I don't think the federal government can do that.
Yeah, and this is a discussion we have because we talked about, hey, do we have preemption? Do we take the authority away from the states to regulate firearms? Who, what, where you can carry, and then we game these things out, and it just becomes so ripe for abuse. That might be one of those issues that's ripe for abuse.
That's not
on the federal level.
But also, I just don't think that's because at the end of the day, I don't want the federal government, and the founders did not want the federal government, and you would agree with me, you do not want the federal government to have that much power. The federal government should be making very few laws. When we talk about gun laws on the federal level, we're mostly talking about like repealing the infringements, making sure you cannot be infringed. But I don't know if you start telling states whether,
because that's a preemption bill is what that is.
That is. I just don't know that it's possible.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I want the federal government's authority to be tested in that way, because then they're going to use it for something else.
Yes.
So I don't know.
But we hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you did, consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and help us fight the anti-2A algorithm by sharing this video.
And please leave us a comment below. What is on your 2A wish list for the next 2 years? Until next time, we're the Attorneys.